What's up, everybody? Just sipping my coffee, just sitting in the parking lot. I had to get a little vitamin D, and I wanted to discuss a couple things. Let's just say I used to work as a mental health advocate in kind of an unofficial capacity, but I was the people that a lot of people actually turned to, and then the ones that were too far gone, all they wanted to do was do their own thing. And unfortunately, that's the problem with a lot of mental health patients. They don't think there's any answers except for the answers that they have. But then there's the higher functioning ones that will listen and can actually work and do fine at jobs and stuff. But when it comes to their personal life, like with family members and stuff, they're not too good, There was this one individual. He used to live across from me when I was in St. Louis. He was in the apartment across from me, and I found out he's bipolar, and I was, big deal. I'll talk to him, I always talk to people like that, homeless or otherwise, man, you're a human being, And I started to notice, that he was kind of a subject of what I would refer to as chemically lobotomized. That is, he was so dependent on the medicine he was been given for years that he'd never questioned it, okay? Now, my diagnosis is complicated, okay? I don't see things, imagine things, or hallucinate or anything like that. But I have a mild autism and ADHD, which interferes with my general learning, scholastics, I was not able to concentrate. I actually felt like I was the one who taught myself to read. I was the one who actually taught myself to write. And when I say that, I'm saying that on a generalized level, I'm not that great at it, but when the teacher was telling me things, it would not go up into my head, So I would go home and I would try to go over what the teacher said in my head. And then it was a little easier because I wasn't in a room full of people, and so I was able to, at least, it was a form of homework, and I was able to read and learn how to talk and write and stuff, kind of like on my own. But they gave me a diagnosis that doesn't fit me, okay? I guess you could say I had a nervous breakdown, and coupled with that and the fact that I had done acid and mushrooms and in the past, and I do have floaters, which causes like little things to go by in my eyes and stuff. And when I mentioned that to the doctor, he just said, "Okay, you're hallucinating," basically. I'm like, no, I got an issue with my optics, But anyway, I didn't go over it with him. He just diagnosed me. He just said, "You're." Eventually, they called me deep depressed, bipolar with a schizoaffective backdrop, which it doesn't fit me because after I got off any kind of street drugs and all that shit went away, I don't see things, I don't hallucinate, I don't hear voices in my head or none of that shit. But in the meantime, I got in touch with people like Invoke Rehab at the mental place and stuff, and I was kind of like the unofficial advocate, I was able to come up with stuff that the other mental health patients weren't able to come up and put two and two together with the vocab, the teacher. And so they would listen to my comments more often than him, and it seemed like I was helping them. So I would call myself an unofficial advocate of mental health patients. Anyway, the bottom line in today's talk, guys, is the difficulties in dealing with people like that. Like, I had a roommate lives across from me in St. Louis. I don't know if I think I already brought that up. He's bipolar, and he was definitely bipolar, because you can see how he just shuts down. He'll shut down. He won't talk to anyone for like 2-3 days. I almost call it like mental laziness, but really it's more like a chemical lobotomization that he's undergone over the years. He takes these particular medicines. He's never asked to try anything new, and as a result, he got diabetes. Okay? Now, there's another person on YouTube I watch. Yes, I guess you could say I'm entertained by him, but not when he uses vernaculars that aren't safe for him to talk about. So anyway, that's how I got the idea for the YouTube channel. I'm like, well, I'll do a YouTube channel. I'll be able to do anything I want, but I will refrain from using words that are not, acceptable within a certain, degree. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I still use, I still use words that probably are not very nice. And I will from time to time on my videos, because I grew up that way, and I'm not perfect. So, I mean, I've had people come on to me like they thought I might be gay or something, and I just said, get the fuck away from me, you stupid faggot. Get the fuck away from me. Fucking vamoose, motherfucker. And they looked at me like with astonishment. It's like, no, there's nothing astonishing about it. I like women, and you need to get the fuck away. So anyway, so I do say things from time to time. The one word I will not use is the N-word. I grew up with people that use that word often, and I'm not going to lie, I was into using it, but I used it in a different format. I mean, I was like, well, that guy, is a complete scumbag, and he'll fucking rob you, he'll do this, he'll do that, so he's nothing but and so forth. But I got over that. I'm past that. I don't use that word anymore to describe anybody, because it's just, first of all, it's just one of those words that I am now considering off limits. Just that one word. I will never use it again. Because, first of all, I've talked to people that are black, and they're extremely kind. And when somebody's extremely kind, I'm extremely kind back. And then, I can actually be friendly with somebody. It doesn't matter what fucking color or skin you are. If you're gay, as long as you don't come on to me or something, you recognize I like women, I'm going to be nice to you as well. I'm not going to call you any bad names or anything. But yeah, I just want to go past this now, because it's something that, I was born in 1964, and all the people that I knew back then, they were, every kind of word was not off limits. Any kind of word was not off limits. And I'm almost to that degree, but there's certain words, I'll just go over it again. That one word, the N-word, will never be used by me in public, in a public domain. I don't care if it has an A on the end. I'm not a gangster. I'm not all that shit. I ain't fucking rolling with some crew and shit. How do you like my shirt? How do you like it? Okay. So I wanted to talk about this particular incident with this guy across the hall from me. I was living out here, and he came up into town, surprised me, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, he explained to me he's got, so much money and all this. He wants to live out here. So I said, fine, okay. And you don't have a place? He said, no. I said, well, that's really smart, dude. You can't, he's one of the bipolar guys. So I said, that's really smart. You're an idiot for doing that. You know that, right? Okay, so anyway, I go, I'll do what I can, but you need to get on the ball and do what you can, you know? And so he finally found a place. I gave him a week to stay where I was at. And I said, you got to fucking go after that. And he found a place, and then the lady was, I guess she was kind of a nutball because, you know, the rules were you couldn't smoke inside. Okay, well, he went outside to smoke. But she didn't like how often he went outside to smoke. So guess what? She told him he had to leave. He was there for like a week. It was the most ridiculous thing. She refunded his money just over the fact he had to go outside and smoke, which makes no sense. If, you know, you tell someone you can't smoke indoors, and then all of a sudden they can't smoke outdoors, it's a new rule, you know. So anyway, she was crazy as fuck. And so anyway, he ends up going to a strip club, and he spent a shitload of money at the strip club, and he almost has no money to get back home. And even if he does, the landlord is liable to fucking tell him, you know, you got to go. So the fucking guy actually makes it back home, and the landlord was friendly enough to let him back in, but he's still a slumlord, this guy, because all of a sudden there was bed bugs. Now, there weren't bed bugs when I lived there, but when he was there, all of a sudden there was bed bugs. And anyway, the bottom line is, he stayed there, and I told him to call the health department, to call the fucking, Better Business Bureau. Actually go down there, fill out an application, do everything that I said, or you're a fucking idiot. Because he will be forced to fumigate that entire complex. But he didn't do it. Okay, so this is a problem with these mentally affected people. They don't want to take any fucking advice at all. You know, they act like they will. They say, yeah, okay, I'll do that, I'll do that. And the next time you talk to them, they say, no, I didn't do any of that. So anyway, he ends up walking out of the apartment without a month's notice, which is fine because that guy is a complete slumlord. He was just, I don't even know how the other people could take all those fucking bed bugs. I mean, they couldn't be just in that one room. But anyway, that guy owned a motel too, and I guarantee you in his motel there's no fucking bed bugs. I can guarantee that. But anyway, so now this guy's going to end up being homeless because he's in a motel and he's running out of money quick. He's fine once he's paying rent with somebody, as long as, you know, it's just a landlord and there's no bed bugs. I mean, he has no mental issues. He can pay rent on time and all that shit. You know, he doesn't get up in your face and create issues or anything like that. But like on his private time, he fucks everything up, you know. I mean, he actually had a job that was paid under the table, I'm pretty sure. And he was making buku. But you know what he did? He told his mom, his dad was trying to help him too. Because, I don't know, something happened with the job with his mom. And then he started working under the table, I guess, for his dad. And then his dad, he didn't like the way his dad drives. So he told his mom, oh, I was going to push him down the stairs. My intent was to kill him. Okay, so right there, man, you just, you know, it's obvious you got some major issues, you know. So they put a restraining order on him. And his entire extended family won't listen to him or won't talk to him. Nobody will talk to him. So I'll talk to him anyway. So I talk to him still. You know, I know as long as he's getting his rent, he pays rent, which he does good at, and he has an income from his disability, he's fine. But like I said, he's been on that medicine for so long, it gave him diabetes. And just like the guy has his YouTube channel, who uses, which makes no sense because he wants to move out of a white racist neighborhood. He's more or less white or something, but he wants to move out of a white racist neighborhood, but he uses the N-word all the time, you know, in descriptive format. And I'm like, dude, you know, I told him on his live chat, don't do that. You know, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And he, on a couple of his live feeds, he actually had a temper tantrum on his live feeds, tipped over tables and scared his cat and fucking probably the neighbors. And anyway, he doesn't take advice either. You know, he won't even acknowledge taking advice. You know, like, oh yeah, okay, and then not do it. He'll just say flat out, I know what's best for me. Well, I tried to tell him, this YouTube guy, I'm not going to say his name, but I tried to tell him, yeah, one way is, to get a job that's kind of on the, under the table or whatnot. And that's how you can make more money so you can move into another apartment and blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I'm saying, no, it's not. That's how and getting a roommate is going to help you also. If you get a roommate, you're going to be able to take care of your bills a little better. And I told him that. And I told him also, he was complaining he'll never work a cleaning job again. I was like, dude, a job is a freaking job. Cleaning jobs aren't hard. Cleaning jobs are easy. And he said, I'll never work a cleaning job again. And guess what he did on his next YouTube? He ends up getting a cleaning job. So he didn't acknowledge the advice from me, but guess what? He took the advice because he got his shit together. He realized if this is the only job available to where he can make under a certain amount so he doesn't lose his disability or his Section 8, then that's going to help him. So he fucking figured it out. And you know what? It's because of me. He actually took my advice, but he didn't do it on live stream. So anyway, I just wanted people to know, when you have a mental health problem and doctors have you on medicines that cause you to have diabetes, which is the case with those two people I just mentioned, both of them got diabetes, from the medicine, and the doctors even warned them of the possibility that they'd get diabetes. They both got diabetes. They're both on metformin. And, basically, they're kind of like chemically lobotomized because they take whatever the fucking doctor tells them to take with no questions asked. And I did that once, and I blew up to 250 pounds. I was losing bunches of hair. It was falling out of my head without even fucking washing it. Just running water over my head, and it would all fall out like I was radioactive or something, So I figured, and I was peeing congealed blood as big as cornflakes, It was like wet cornflakes, maroon colored cornflakes coming out of my freaking goddamn dick hole, into the toilet. And it was just like, I told the doctor and he was mildly interested in it. And then the nurse was a little more interested in it, gave me a blood panel. Didn't find anything unusual, but I ended up telling that doctor to get me off all that fucking medicine. And I did, and I was actually medicine free for a while, like a few months. I refused to take anything. And eventually, long story short, I figured out what works for me since I got insomnia. I take a medicine at night. It's actually meant for people with psychotropic, or not with psych issues, but I don't use it for that because I don't hallucinate, I don't see things. But I just use it to get to sleep because it's known to be like a mega sedative. Gets me to sleep, my muscles can recover, and it hasn't given me a weight problem, so I take it. When I discover that there's going to be another issue with the medicines that I'm taking, I'll get off them. I'll tell the doctor straight up, get me off this shit. I want to go medicine free for I want to detoxify off all your garbage. And I'll say that to them, and they'll say okay, because they know, it's a little hard to treat me because I'm mildly autistic. And it's hard to define what to do with a mildly autistic person. And if you're one of those kind of people, I know exactly what you're going through. Plus ADHD didn't help me much either. So anyway, I just want to get that out. I'm all for you. I'm all for your future. I don't want, like the YouTube guy I was telling you about, he actually got to a point where he invited people to come over and fucking shoot him. I mean, man, that is just, the worst thing you could possibly say on fucking live stream. Yeah, just come on by and shoot me, please. So anyway, there's just certain things you don't do when you're with mental health people. And one of them is take all their advice. You have to use some of your common sense. You have to. You have to use your common sense. You can't let those dudes run you or you will be a walking zombie. Okay? Anyway, another thing I want to talk about real quick is I noticed in the past I've friended with hot looking chicks, and they always, not always, but a good portion of them will friend with like a Saudi royalty, or a prince or something. And it's funny in a way, because it's like you do realize that those guys aren't even that Arabic. I mean, they got Jewish in them. The Jewish people infiltrated the Saudi royalty, and anyway, the bottom line is it doesn't matter if they're part Jewish or not, but a lot of these women think that friending with these guys is going to somehow bring cash in their direction, and stuff. And it's kind of humorous. It's like, I mean, that's why I got this fucking beard and shit, and I look scruffy, because nobody needs to know if I got a lot of money. I put it in the bank. It's in the bank. And if I do got a lot of money, maybe I'll flaunt it to one of them and just go, look, man, I might look like a fucking scuzzball with my beard all grown out of proportion and shit. But the bottom line is, you're not going to get anything from those guys in Saudi Arabia. They're not going to fucking send you gifts. They're not going to do a damn thing for you. Okay? So your little dream of being rich by friending a fucking Saudi motherfucker isn't going to do jack shit for you. Okay? Yes, those guys have, this. They don't just got a following. They have it open to be, friend them on purpose. They do that on purpose. They got their reasoning behind it and stuff, but the truth of the matter is, do they pay attention to you? Fuck no. Are they going to give you any fucking cash? Hell fucking no. All right? Are they going? And if they did have you, what do you think they treat you like for a night, and then they fucking tell you to fucking kick rocks the next day? Just so you know that, Guaranteed they're not going to find your pussy sugary and juicy enough to keep hanging around. Okay? And that's just if they invite you over, okay? And if one of them does invite you over, like I said, it's going to be a quick trip, man. In and out, and gone. And the chances are 1 in a billion that they'll fucking even do it. So, anyway, that's my vid for today. And all you hot chicks out there with drug problems, I hope you fucking get off the drugs. Quit hanging around those people, and quit trying to fucking chill with Saudi Arabics. They're not fucking even full Arabs. They're fucking part Jewish. All right? Not that that's bad. I said that before, but it's just that they're not even officially the Muslim community. Would love to fucking probably, have a civil war and fucking take them assholes over, okay? Because of that. But you won't hear that in the news.